So a few weeks ago I made a video about varnish, and I made this video to share my concern about varnishing results. I was not satisfied with my result. Some paintings like this one, I think the varnish worked very good, very well. It was well applied. He offered an even coat of varnish and I was very satisfied with that. But the problem is that not all my paintings were varnished like that. This one as well, this one has a thicker paint application, and I think even though the thickness of the paint was thicker than the first one I showed you, the varnish applied very well and very properly, and especially very evenly. Here, for example, I have a painting that I think as well works pretty well, but this one, for example, when I went back and look at it carefully this morning, I still see some areas where the varnish didn't apply evenly, especially at the bottom. So this could come from two things, I think, because I kept thinking of it over the week. Two major reasons, I will say. It's probably either my varnish application that was not done properly, even though I'm very careful, but maybe it comes from me and I didn't apply the varnish properly. And my second guess that I think it might be this. I was using this brush to varnish my painting. I always use this one. And as a varnish, I use Gamvar Varnish, the gloss version. So I thought maybe, after all this reflection, I said maybe it's the brush that is not good enough to varnish my painting. So I went ahead and I bought a Gamvar Varnish Brush that is specifically made to varnish our paintings with the Gamvar Varnish from Gamblin. I have big hopes on this brush. I hope it's gonna be a game changer. I hope I finally gonna get the result that I'm looking for when varnishing my painting. I will show you one more thing. This was one of my biggest concerns, this painting. I honestly don't know if I will be able to show you that on the screen, but let me just tell you here. On the right side of this painting, there are some areas where basically it's like a puddle. So it's the opposite of the puddle. The varnish was applied very properly and very evenly everywhere, but in some areas it looked like the painting layer underneath was repelling the varnish. I know, it's so weird. I was so surprised. When I was applying the varnish, I could clearly see it on that day. I remember properly that I was applying the brush strokes, and the varnish will be repelled like that. It will go away from these little areas here, and it's also clear next to the head, next to the face. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. It's gonna be very hard, I'm sorry. I know it's very hard to see it on the screen, but you can trust me, I make this video for this. And here I can really clearly see still these puddles. It's not puddles, it's the opposite of the puddle. It's a hole where the varnish wouldn't stay there. And I have no idea the reason of that, so I have good hope for today. And we will varnish two new paintings that I have in my studio today. And the most important, we're gonna varnish them, but the most important, we're gonna come back after the drying time to analyze the result and to see finally I'm getting some consistent result and some satisfying result with this varnish. And that's, in my opinion, the most important, and that's the part that I had a hard time, or I never found online. I saw a lot of artists varnishing their painting, but I never saw them coming back and showing us the painting to see if it was, how was it basically, how was their experience. And even here on the side I can clearly. So let's go and varnish these two new paintings. I will use an empty cup. I will pour the varnish in my empty cup, if I can open it. There we go. I think that's enough. I already cleaned the surface to make sure there's no dust on the surface, and then I take my brush. There you go. Not too much varnish. So far I think it's going pretty well. I can see what I was talking about before, little puddles, but I think this time it might work. So now, really trying to follow basically what Gamblin recommends. I hope I'm doing it good. I'm doing some cross here in order to apply the varnish evenly everywhere, and that doesn't look bad like that. But again, we're gonna come back after some drying time to analyze the result. I hope this is fine. I think this is fine. I'm gonna put the cup on the side. We're gonna stir that painting. I use my palette knife to lift the painting. I also place two little tape behind the painting so the painting doesn't move when I'm varnish. Just a little look at the painting like that. It looks not bad at all. The result is promising, I think. Let's store that painting and let's come back to it once it dried. Alright, now this is the second painting I want to varnish today. So we already have some varnish in the cup. I'm gonna take this time more varnish because the painting is bigger. There we go. Still gonna do this to remove, to not have too much varnish in the bristle. We probably gonna have to take more varnish. Let's see. It's very, very satisfying. So far so good. And I take a little more varnish on the brush. I will show everything on the camera, that way you see what I'm doing. Hope this is not too much. I don't want to apply too much varnish. I'm gonna get a little more, just a little bit, trying to be even. I don't know how it shows on the camera. I think I'm gonna leave it like that. I think we got something here. I have my finger crossed. I'm gonna leave that with the palette knife. I think we got something. I hope I have my finger crossed, really. Let's put that to dry and we will come back like the other one. We will come back for the result after the drying time. Alright, so 2 hours have passed now. A little more than 2 hours have passed since I varnished the two paintings. So the paintings are dry to the touch. It's around an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to be dry to the touch. This will always depend on the temperature and the humidity present in the room. I'm happy. I'm still, I will say my conclusion after showing you the two paintings. So that's the first one I varnished. Of course, now that the varnish is applied with the light on the camera, it's kind of hard to show you like that because of the glare. But it looks good, I'm happy. For this one, I would say maybe because of the paint application underneath, I don't know. It's not a full satisfaction, I have to admit, but I guess I also have to see it on the wall, maybe framed and on the wall. Oh, let's have a look at the second. Alright, I hope you can see it well despite the glare. My conclusion, is the Gamblin Varnish Brush worth it? Well, I would say yeah. Honestly, when I heard that you really need this brush to varnish your painting, I was a little bit skeptical. But I have to admit that one thing that is different from my previous varnish experience with my common brush that I was using is that the varnish looks finally even everywhere. I'm not sure I have been more careful this time. I think I'm always very careful when I varnish my painting. I document myself, so I went on Gamblin's website already a long time ago to see the procedure. I will just say that yeah, I think having the right brush definitely changed something. I'm happy about this result, but overall I will say that I think it's definitely worth it to buy this brush. This brush cost me I think $20. It will depend the period of time where you buy the brush, but it's around $20. That's the small one. They have two versions, a big one, a small one. That's the small version. I wanted to start by this one to try it out as well because I don't paint big paintings yet, so I didn't really need the big one, and I will definitely say that it's worth it. I'm looking forward to have really like a final review of all this. I will need to varnish like 10-20 paintings to have a better look, to have a better insight of having a step back, having varnished enough painting with that brush. But already with these two paintings, I can tell that it makes a difference, definitely. Then I will need to as well get used to the application, get used to how much varnish I put in the bristle in order to not have too much varnish on the surface. That's very important because then it stays tacky and it might never dry. Here I can tell I think the amount is correct since it's already dry to the touch. After a little more than 2 hours it's already dry to the touch. I can touch it here, it doesn't feel tacky at all. But like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I had some weird things happening on certain paintings. Here I still see some area that I'm not completely satisfied, but I will say that this probably comes from my paint on my varnish application and not neither the brush, neither the varnish itself. I will say that I have to keep improving my varnish application, and I think I will be fine with Gamvar Varnish and this brush from Gamblin. I'm still open to try other type of varnishes. This varnish, if I chose this varnish, it's because you don't have to wait 6 months to a year before varnishing your painting. With Gamvar formulation, you can varnish your painting as fast as the paint is dry to the touch. So depending the paint you use, but to me it's between 2-3 weeks to a month to 4 weeks, and I can directly varnish the painting. I don't have to wait the 6 months to a year, which is very convenient for me. So I will keep using that varnish and that brush, and I'm looking forward for the future varnishes, and I hope it's gonna go as good as this, if not even better. That would be great. But yeah, you can see the result here. At least I hope you can see the result enough, because I felt that's what was missing on YouTube, to not be able to see the result of enough painting. I really hope I do a job good enough to show you the result of the painting, that you can see the painting under many angles, so you can see a little bit the texture and the varnish. But overall, I'm very happy, and it's a big relief, because I like I said, varnishing a painting is so important. It's the final step when we create paintings, and it's very enjoyable when everything goes good.